let's start with the final part. We have at least 2, maybe 3 speakers. Hofman, you want to start?
What?
Okay, maybe 2.
What I have word but I can't start.
So you have 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay, so
Marcus
on the other side. Okay, so I would propose a little bit different approach to what we are doing, because I believe that we should seek for new questions and new challenges outside of this community as well. Like most of the questions that appear so far were kind of internal questions. Georg was showing some questions that were coming from math, like so that was one source of the external, let's say, source of the problems. But like the question about multiplicity equivalence raised by Wojtek, for example, I see it as an internal question. So something that emerged inside of our community. It's not clear if someone outside of this community is interested. It looks as an elegant notion, worth of study, but no one knows if we will not develop some theory and then publish some papers and nobody will read them and everybody forget them. I want to recall that the steam engine was developed for the first time in Alexandria I don't remember, around 200 AD. So it's good to look for some external motivations, I would say, and then these external motivations can come from math. This is a good source in general, but we can also look for external motivation, let's say in, I don't know, physics, biology.
War.
What?
War.
War.
It's not a joke, actually. Most of the knowledge
like
that say
the population protocols mentioned by Javier are kind of motivated by this natural computations, which is kind of chemistry model, yes? So there are some motivations sometimes coming from different sources. They can inspire development of new models, new branches, new questions, and this can be kind of inspiring. So the first thing that I want to say is that if you recall anything where you've seen something vase related and people were doing strange things with vases there, maybe these things are not so strange. Maybe they can be clarified and turned into some kind of interesting questions. So if someone has such a concept, then feel free to stand up. So one of the things that are kind of inspiring for me now are, well, the application of a Petri net in business process modeling, which is kind of known since many years. That, well, when Petri nets were created, that was well, maybe not created, but in 90s that people started to see that, well, maybe you can model workflows with processes, with Petri nets, so some tokens are moving, transitions are activities, and there are whole big groups in many universities around the world that are doing different things around, with this. Usually it's not mathematically very sophisticated from what I understand, but maybe I have wrong perspective on this. But I started to look what they are doing, and like most of talks and discussions around well, maybe not around, on this workshop or on this conference were around questions like reachability, coverability, like the systems that we were considering were unlabeled. And what is important for them is that their systems are labeled, so transitions are named by some activities, and the things that they are working with are some logs provided from some companies, or I know, in hospital, there are data registered for every patient, yes, some sequences of activities that were performed in order to not to kill him. And they have some model. There are questions like if this log fits the model, if there is an error, the question is if the error is in the log, if the error is in the model, how to correct this model, how to learn models from logs. They are doing such things, but it looks from my perspective, when I was reading some papers, with not so many of them, but it looks like they are finding some idea about some algorithm. From the first perspective, it looks as kind of interesting idea, but it lacks kind of bigger picture and why this algorithm is good, what is optimized by this. It's not clear very often. So there is, I think there is room for a lot of theory to be developed around this. And one of the like definitions that I want to advertise here is maybe it's alignment problem. So something that you can know from finding errors in text, like spell checks. So what is well, you have some text, you have some sequence, and then you are asking, okay, like what is the closest word to my word? So how to specify it? Well, you are what does mean the closest? Yes, you are defining some basic operations, some edit distance, and then you are trying to find the closest word. What are the and what is the sequence of operations to correct it? And this is one of the things that they are doing in order to try to match logs with the model. So model is kind of providing the dictionary, it's the language. So you are looking for the word that is closest to the word from your log, and then try to find errors. But then things that start to appear, like, for example, well, the log maybe is not the sequence because you cannot be sure about exact timestamps, so it's kind of partial order. So they are developing, there are some words in which they are trying to find alignment between partial order and models. They are words in which they are trying to align data words because there are some data. There are questions which I'm not sure if they are even asking them, like if this three most natural operations like remove a letter, add a letter, change single letter should be the basic operations. Maybe in some cases one error in the procedure may lead to many incorrect information in the log, so should be counted as many errors or single error. And I think around alignment one can find a lot of interesting problems. Also about finding algorithms to find the best alignment for some subclasses of patronage. So this is kind of inspiration, that some kind of direction where we can look for new problems, new challenges, like kind of unknown in our community, but something that maybe after some refinement may turn into interesting mathematical questions. Do you have any questions or some comments or maybe some other inspirations from different directions? You know, maybe from medicine, maybe from biology, maybe physics. Yes?
So, I mean, I like this idea. So the point is that from the algorithmic side, this can quickly turn into, I don't know, some experimental exercise. But there's also this fine-grained complexity that one could maybe apply to problems of this form. And then maybe it becomes also appealing from a theoretical side. I mean, in a way that we've not studied.
Yeah, well, I think that from what I was reading in papers, like I'm starting is it's like this, that the first thing is it's not clear if they have good definitions always. This is one thing. So, and without good definition, it's hard to define elegant mathematical problems. But yeah, so for some problems, they I think that even results like decidability, undecidability, they can be also interesting, maybe more from our perspective, but also from their perspective a little bit. Like there is some algorithm which is theoretically terminating. Currently, we are using depth first search or breadth first search, and we don't have any guarantees. So maybe this algorithm that terminates will work better. So I've heard it's kind of independent story. So I've heard that I think it was PhD student of Ran Kolarczyk. He implemented KLM algorithm, yes, and they were trying how it performs on some benchmark industrial examples, and it turned out, from what I understand, that it turned out it works surprisingly well. Yeah, so I think they were comparing it to like stupid breadth first search or something like this, and maybe despite that it's complex, there is something in it which may beat naive brute force algorithms. Any other comments? Okay, I'm free.
Great, thanks. Okay, so speaking of sources of problems from different communities, Karol, do you want to come?
Right, so I'm not from this community, I started my PhD in something that is called fine-grained First time I explained it to Philip, he laughed. But first time Philip explained to me what he is working on, I also laughed. But despite of this, we wrote a couple of papers together about intersections of this and this topic.
There was a lot of laughing.
There was a lot of laughing. So basically in 90s, well, I mean, this is a subfield that is considered computational complexity and algorithms. And basically I have a feeling that in 90s the problems were solved. Like we could basically classify whether the problem is in P or in P hard. For like I don't know, maybe 5 programs are still left to this day, but we have really good tools of saying that problem is in P hard or P, or maybe for parity games we still don't know what problems in scheduling and half isomorphism. We can still exclude them. So people started looking at more fine-grained analysis of problems. So, for example, n to the 100 algorithm that runs in this time is not really considered to be efficient.
Can you write a bit bigger?
So I just wrote n to the 100. And community, 7 years ago, started to develop a tool that says that, okay, I cannot beat n to the 100 for this problem. For example, for problem that is called K-sum, we have some with lower bounds, or problems that are called orthogonal vectors, we have some with lower bounds. So let me tell you about project with Philip, Leah, and Henry. There is Marvin there. So first, I visited Leah and Marvin, I think, in Kaiserslautern, and we immediately started talking about coverability of VAS. And what they told me is that coverability of VAS is complete, and it's basically everything is known. And when coverability of VAS is encoded in unary and the dimension is small, it's in NL. And I was, what? Like, this is a big gap. So out of curiosity, we started to look what's exactly the complexity when you parameterize by V, and it turned out that for unary 2 VAS, for unary D VAS, from what is known already, you can get n to the 2 to the deco of d to the log d. So we basically asked question, can you improve this algorithm? And very quickly we came up with the lower bound that actually, no, this is no. So assuming exponential time hypothesis, you can say that such algorithm is not possible. So then we were left with this gap in the exponent, and we asked, can you improve this log d? Which probably for Philip it sounded like a ridiculous question at that time. But after some time we managed to improve this log, and it turned out to be actually, in the process of improving that and asking this question, we actually discovered something really cool, that I believe is really nice. So I guess my future direction would be that maybe we should look at some fundamental and very old algorithms and try to ask what's exactly the complexity, what's exactly the running time. Maybe edge completeness is not the best way to characterize whether the problem is closed or not. Ask more fine-grained questions and try to understand the problem better.
Questions? All right, thanks. Shaull?
Two slides.
What?
2 slides.
When did you do this?
Great.
Yeah.
This is too much build. Okay, so disappointing. Never disappointed.
Maybe it's Gabby, did you? Wait. Is there two here? There's HDMI, right?
Yes. Okay. So here are some research questions that I don't expect anyone to answer. Most of them probably don't make sense. But things like, given two-dimensional VAS with alphabet, is a two-reversal bounded language finite? And sometimes we call two-dimensional VAS with alphabet labeled VAS, and two-reversal bound we can call unimodal runs. What about if you ask this about ZVAS? You don't have to understand the question. In fact, it's better if you don't. Is the reachability set of VAS with nested zero test semilinear? What is the best lower bound known coverability of 3 VAS with 1 counter in unary and 1 lossy counter? If you don't know what a lossy counter is, great. These are questions that I came up with in like 3 minutes. And the important thing about these questions is that they kind of make sense. So these words have appeared in research by all of you at some time. And the question is, how would you go about finding if your question was no, we're not. And the answer probably is you'd Google, you'd ask friends, you'd ask colleagues, and it's a long process and it's pointless. So my pitch is, let's construct an infinite state wiki page so that we can answer these kind of questions quickly and efficiently. Yeah. So what should such an infinite state wiki page have? It should have standardized definitions of all the models we use. So that, for example, Daniel's fantastic talk this morning had an alphabet called X, which is so what I imagine,
you have to parameterize the Wikipedia page, so you can just X from minus where they don't want to see.
Exactly. So what I imagine or envision is something that you can go in and put in the search box what kind of model you want. You want a state-based model with vast semantics, or with Z semantics, or with counters, without counters, with alphabet, all the stuff you want, and get the known research about this. So it would be great if it was in existence. I think that's given. And it would make knowledge sharing much easier, I think. And we could even address it in the preliminaries. So something Philip suggested, that when you write preliminaries, you could just point people to the standard wiki at this page and that page, and the people will know what you're talking about. The drawbacks is that it requires a lot of work, and work is hard. And this has been tried before. So in Joel and Ben's groups at Oxford, they tried to build such a wiki page for orbit problems. It didn't really take off. There were some results there, but they were mainly links to pages, and nobody used it. So if you think it's a good idea, if you want to contribute, if you have any ideas on how to make this streamlined so that we can start small and build it, and it just doesn't, the idea then doesn't just die out, then great. And if not, then we can let it die out, which is also okay.
Thanks. Questions, comments?
So the Autobars has its open problem section, and a group of people have recently taken the Autobars open problem collection, which is an online site, and detached it from Autobars, and they are trying to make a community initiative of an open problem site, at least, which is slightly different. I haven't heard any more than, well, they have a domain, it's called automata.exchange.
Okay.
And it's currently a literal copy of the old Autobars open problems site, but Cadillac and possibly some other people, but I mean, we should not compete, but maybe we can help or complement or...
Yeah, just put it on Cadillac, basically. He's the guy to do it.
I mean, I think he has plans that it would, so at the moment you have to like send something to him to put it on, he has plans that it will have a
Sending
portal
things to
that you
Cadillac
can
is
do.
a very effective method of doing things. Just as a general rule. But yeah, okay.
Yes, I have a question. So you mentioned that X, it's not a dependent on X. Sometimes you would like to have X because you use it. So I'm wondering if wiki is a good way of doing this job. I mean, it should be better not to have some preferences on the way the labels can be displayed. Something not less static, something more dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna, I mean, nobody will stop anyone calling their alphabet X, if need be. I don't think this is the resolution. I don't think this is what will stop this project. But no, I agree that ideally it would be dynamic and you could fix things. You have this configuration thing that you can feed and get your website with the.
If you want that something is used, I mean, if you want that people use stuff, you need to convert interface.
Yep. The challenges are many.
I was surprised to discover some time ago through some YouTube videos that there is a community of people who are very nerdy, like us, but who might not be professional mathematicians, who set up a fandom wiki on very big numbers. And I was looking at something like that, and I was surprised by the degree of sophistication of what they were doing. I mean, this was a way better resource than any other I had seen on this particular topic. Very surprising. Like, much better than Wikipedia, but also some introduction rules and so on. were less precisely, less good than this. So they made mistakes sometimes, but somehow there are probably some people who really know this stuff who correct them from time to time. And so maybe we should interest people like this who have way too much time on their hands. Set up amendments, work as hard part of it with us.
Yeah, if you can frame this as something that nerds will enjoy.
Showing them how fascinating the stuff we're doing is, and seeing like people are fascinated by huge numbers like Ackermann functions, but way beyond and so on, that maybe they would be interested in also, oh, this is also fascinating.
Turn all your figures to anime. Yeah.